Hey guys, Thomas Asula Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, and welcome to a pretty late review for the movie Solace, featuring Anthony Hopkins, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Colin Farrell. So, the reason why this movie review is pretty late is because I didn't hear of this movie and it almost completely passed by my radar. I looked at it, I found it, and I decided to give it a watch. And I actually found it quite enjoyable. Now, the beginning of this movie was a bit hard to follow as the pacing was a bit slow, and the characters did seem very. Uh, I want to say, acting in general seemed a bit almost stoic, feeling very almost like it was like a heroic thing, or I don't know what they were going for, but as the movie progressed, I felt like they finally understood what they were going for, and the end product was something I actually really enjoyed. Now, as I said in the beginning, there were some also editing things that I found that were almost a bit puzzling at first. But again, as the movie went on, it felt like they got a better handle of what they were trying to do. Now, we followed Jeffrey as he's an FBI agent, and Anthony Hopkins is a psychic who are in this investigation together trying to find out who the murder is. And they're working with this woman who's, I believe um, she does, she connects with people or something. I can't remember what she did, but her role is pretty important as she becomes one of the keystones of what Anthony Hopkins have to do as he does sort of become the main character. And I say that because we sort of are following this other character, Jeffrey, for a while. But the case uh, sort of builds on itself. We see that there's a similarity in the murders. Um, they try to get Anthony Hopkins to do his like psychic thing, and he's seeing these little blurry visions. And eventually, we run into one guy who's apparently knows who that is, and they shoot him. But it's like a vision thing. It's really weird, but I understood it at that point where it was trying to go on. This movie really reminded me of Deja Vu. I think that was the movie that I was trying to think of, where the character is like in one place and then he makes multiple versions of himself going in multiple directions and stuff like that. They did that twice or three times in this movie, and I think they put it to pretty good use of when they finally do meet the bad guy, Colin Farrell, or the killer in this case. They can confront him, and he's trying to get away and stuff. Um, so we do find out that he is the killer, and he feels like he has a very justified reason for killing people, and I won't reveal what that is, but I do think it's a pretty interesting look at it and how he starts to mess with Anthony Hopkins in this movie. I think that relationship is pretty interesting. Now, the one thing I will say is if you don't enjoy this whole seeing the future kind of movie stuff, you probably really won't enjoy this movie, as it does sort of become the focus of the movie at some point, sort of in the middle area. So I will say that for this, it does sort of have a goal, I guess, and as we reach closer and closer to the end, we see that Colin Farrell and Anthony Hopkins duel off, and it's very high stakes, like chain thing, and uh, Colin Farrell's using everything he has left to like say, "Oh, you're gonna become just like me," so on and so forth, and they eventually do take him down, and that's about it. Like I said, the only issues I had were toward the beginning and sort of some of the acting toward the beginning, but like I said, it did find itself getting better and better for me anyway. So I'm gonna give this movie a surprising score. I think I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie, and one of the main reasons I thought of giving it a lower score at first was that whole pacing issue and the whole thing. But there was something that caught my attention that I didn't see in a lot of movies last year. So I thought I'd bring it up here since this movie did technically come out in 2015. They don't ever say why Anthony Hopkins is so bad at reading the future or whatever, reading the past. And when compared to Colin Farrell, who apparently just knows everything, it it never says why. And at first, I thought that was just really bad writing. But then, as the movie progressed, it felt like it was trying to explain through visuals why, and I think it actually made a lot of sense. Colin Farrell not only being the younger of the two, so he would have a fresher start to it or whatever. I don't know, but that's what I interpreted it as, and that's the key word: interpret. This movie allows you to interpret why Colin Farrell is the better one, and I think that's really good of a movie to allow the audience to interpret something. So that's one of the main reasons I'm giving it an 8 out of 10, as well as some of the acting in the middle to ending section. I think if you can get through the beginning, it's a pretty solid film. So that's my review. And with that said, this has been Thomas Solace Jr., aka Mustache Tom, and I'll see you guys next time.